As you probably have heard, there is a change in the front office for the York Revolution. Current general manager Matt O'Brien will be going to Sugar Land, Texas to help start an Atlantic League baseball team. If you've never been to Sovereign Bank Stadium before the gates open, it gets almost as loud as during the game itself. Matt starts off talking about just that.
I think the calm before the storm, quite literally today, is wild. It is, it's interesting to watch how it all comes together and all gets torn down. I like it. I like it. It's peaceful.
What do you see in the challenges of starting the club here and the challenges in Texas?
The challenges that are very similar is integrating yourself into the community to understand the community. I think in both places it required lots of assistance from people to kind of show you the ropes a little bit. That's probably the biggest challenge. Lots of the repetitive stuff, building a ballpark and launching a mascot and that kind of stuff. Those are the fun parts. But the real challenge is trying to understand with the community, build their team with them, not for them.
Sugar Land. Okay. Talk a little bit about the community.
The community is a really rapidly growing suburb of Houston. It's about 20 miles outside of Houston. When they refer to the metropolitan, it's the Sugar Land, Houston, Beaumont market. Houston is the fourth largest city in the country, and we went down there and they talked about their excitement of potentially being number 3 after this next census. It is an area that's rapidly growing, and Sugar Land is rapidly growing, and they have some really neat ideas on following through on what their people who live in their community, what their community wants. Their idea from the baseball stadium came from, they put a referendum out and asked what their community wanted, and they chose a baseball team, a minor league baseball team. And opening day partners came in after that fact. After they chose they wanted a minor league baseball team, they had to figure out who they were going to partner with to help do that. And after a competitive process, they chose opening day partners to be the organization to help launch their hometown team with them. The bulk of the focus is on finishing York and working with Eric on the transition. Sugar Land's baseball team will open in 2012, which gives us a large amount of opportunity to get to work after the season when we get down there. So I think the early announcement came as a method to not so much to have me start working there, more to have Eric join here. And so the focus for the remainder of this season is all about York. The city has identified a preferred stadium location where they want it built, and we're in the process of going through the design to kind of figure out where on that potential property it could fit, if that is the property that it deems that they're going to use. And from there, hopefully get a shovel in the ground sometime in the early parts of next year. The one interesting part about the build, the difference is shovel in the ground in February or March. You may not have to work with snow in the build, so the build may be just a little easier than building through the winter. I remember there was one particular storm that had the ice all over this place, and when I was on the phone with somebody the other day down there, and they did say once they've seen snow enough to recognize what it is, but it's not something that they normally have in their weather.
Tell me some of the highlights over the 4 years that you're here.
I got so many, and I still think the greatest highlight is yet to come this year. With the team playing really well, I'm excited about our opportunities in the playoffs. One of the existing highlights is opening day, when the Eagle landed on cue. It gave me goosebumps. The concert that we had here, this most recent 4th of July was really nice show. There's so many little bits and pieces. One of the highlights for me personally will always be the introduction of Downtown the mascot, because that's where I met my wife, was actually at that introduction. So York will always carry a special place in my heart.
Well, the team is going to travel from Texas to York. That's a little different than traveling from York to Lancaster.
It is. You know, this is a AA, AAA league, and based on what night you watch us play sometimes. In AAA, the teams are spread all over the country, so these guys are used to hopping on a plane and going place to place. So we don't think that is as big an issue as just scheduling initially. You know, we're going to start out with the Sugar Land team with one team down there, which will take an adjusted schedule to accommodate. And Joe Klein and the board of directors in the Atlantic League are working on building that. But more, it's you know, I think that with the smart schedule and smart growth down there, that there's a potential to add a Western Division eventually. And you know, it's got to start with at least one. So Sugar Land will be the first, and if we do our jobs and the community comes out and it goes off wonderfully, then I think the other potential sites will kind of stand up and raise their hand and says, I like what you did, would you talk to us about it? But I think that all starts with job one is in Sugar Land. So I think a lot of it hinges on us doing what we need to do down there and doing it right and building the community's team. There's a couple other interesting perspectives. In the warm weather states, baseball's being played year-round, and you know, the college baseball programs, those that are thriving, are based out of the warmer climates. And so we believe the baseball knowledge and passion down there is as great as here in York. And the other thing is, by having that baseball passion down there, that comes with lots of baseball players down there. There are a number of guys in this league that have home in Texas. And for the folks that in this league go away to play baseball, there will be a chance maybe some of those to stay closer to home. Just as there are many teams, many guys in this league that are from the Northeast, they're in this league because they can stay closer to home. This may open another opportunity for some of those guys to, you know, stay closer to home, and it may open some other doors for us.